So, good morning everyone. The PDF for today's session has already been uploaded. We are just about to start. चलिए, so sufficient number of people have already joined us. Suvin, Priyanshi, Syed, Mahi, Vicky, Gautam. Good morning everyone. चलिए, तो देखते हैं आज की अखबार में क्या खास है. And we are going to start this session with the statement made by Swami Vivekanand. So Vivekanand ji is saying that in a conflict between heart and the brain, follow your heart. Okay, in the conflict between heart and brain, follow your heart. Now the point is this: he is not saying that we should stop using our brain. He is not saying this, you should stop using your brain. He is saying that direction can be taken up by your heart, and use your brain to reach to your destination. Use your brain to reach to your destination, so your heart can provide direction to you. And your brain, it can definitely play important role in your overall journey. This is the important point here, because if you will be listening to your heart, you will get a direction, you will start moving in that direction. And while you can say achieving your goal, in that process you may come across multiple difficulties, and then your brain is going to help you out. This is the important aspect that Swami Vivekananda is saying. Your heart is going to guide you towards right direction. Okay, you will be directed towards right direction. This idea of brain and heart is basically linked to the GS paper 4, where we will be looking into two aspects. One is cognitive intelligence, okay, cognitive intelligence, and the other one is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Now, in your emotional intelligence, it is really important that we should always take message from our conscience. Your conscience is directly directed by your heart. This is the point here. Here we are not saying that cognitive ability is not important. Cognitive ability is equally important. That is mental ability, that is wisdom. That's also crucial, because you may have to take multiple decisions, and this is applicable in the bureaucrat's life as well. So bureaucrat should be sensitive enough, he should have that emotional intelligence to understand the gravity of the problem, and then he should use his cognitive ability, that is mental ability, that is your brain, to basically resolve those problems. This is what Swami Vivekananda is saying. He is not saying that we should stop using our brain, we should stop using our wisdom. That is also crucial, not only in our life but also in decision making while in bureaucracy. So this is what the overall message is about. So let's move towards next point, and here let's discuss this thing in detail. Okay, पूरे newspaper को देखते हैं क्या है यहाँ पे. तो चलिए, so as you can see on the screen, Himachal polls on November 12th, Gujarat on hold for now. Okay, so opposition was making this statement that why Gujarat polls have not been announced, the days have not been announced, but majorly in Himachal now it is clear that in November elections are to be conducted. Now as soon as the announcement is made, okay, as the election commission makes the announcement, the model code of conduct will come into place. वहाँ पे model code of conduct already लग गया होगा. Okay, now this is the exam relevant context. ये exam relevant चीज है that we need to understand how does this moral code of conduct works. First of all, you need to understand it is not statutory arrangement. This model code of conduct is not a statutory arrangement. These are just guidelines by election commission. These are just guidelines by the election commission. Okay, guidelines regarding speech, poll booth management, poll day conduct, election manifesto, how to, you can say, organize rallies, conduct in general. So these things are included in those guidelines. It is not backed by statutory arrangement. Now the point is this, as statutory arrangement is missing, कोई कानून नहीं है इसके पीछे, so there are frequent violations of model code of conduct और regularly आपको देखने को मिलता है. Okay, they are violated. That's the problematic part here, because if you are coming out with the guidelines, election commission should have the power to enforce it. कहीं ना कहीं enforcement की power election commission में होनी चाहिए. Not only this, those who are violating it, okay, those who are violating it, for them as well, election commission should have some penal powers. कुछ penal powers भी election commission के पास होनी चाहिए. This is what the requirement is. Okay, this is what the requirement is. तो ये सारी चीजें हैं जो आपको समझनी है. ठीक है जी. सो दिस इज द बैकग्राउंड ओनली. ओके, सैयद अत्यब, ये बैकग्राउंड ही है, ये न्यूज में नहीं है जो मैंने आपको बताया. ठीक है ना, दिस इज द बैकग्राउंड ओनली कि मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट के पीछे ये कहानी है. चलिए, सर, इज देयर एनी पनिशमेंट फॉर वायलेटिंग द मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट? दैट्स द प्रॉब्लम. दिस इज व्हाट आई एम सजेस्टिंग. राजेश, यही तो मैं बता रहा हूं कि कोई पावर नहीं है उसके पास. ओके, तो वायलेशन भी होता है तो इतना कुछ इफेक्टिव देखने को नहीं मिलता. रेगुलरली वायलेशन देखने को मिलेगा, इलेक्शन आफ्टर इलेक्शन. That's the point here. So there are few more things. Now these guidelines are generally like this. Government usually does not introduce any new ground for project or public initiatives once the model code of conduct comes into force. Now this is the other debate, because when this MCC income is being implemented, the major problem is this. Okay, जब ये implement होता है मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट, तो उसके अंदर एक मेजर प्रॉब्लम ये आती है दैट गवर्नेंस इज मेजरली इंपैक्टेड, बिकॉज यू कैन नॉट अनाउंस न्यू स्कीम्स. एंड इन इंडिया द सिस्टम इज लाइक दिस, देयर आर मल्टीपल इलेक्शंस गोइंग ऑन थ्रू आउट द ईयर. हर स्टेट के अंदर कहीं ना कहीं इलेक्शन चल रहा होता है. तो ये एक अपने आप में प्रॉब्लम है, बिकॉज योर होल ब्यूरोक्रेसी विल बी नाउ जस्ट फोकसिंग ऑन द इलेक्शन. दे विल नॉट बी लुकिंग इनटू द डेवलपमेंटल एस्पेक्ट. नई स्कीम आप कुछ अनाउंस नहीं कर सकते. ओके, other point is this, government bodies are prohibited from participating in any recruitment process during the process of election. You cannot carry out new recruitment. That's the point. So Syed Atyab is asking what is model code of conduct. अभी मैंने आपको बताया ना, पिछली स्लाइड पे ही था कि गाइडलाइंस इशू करता है इलेक्शन कमीशन फ्री एंड फेयर इलेक्शन करवाने के लिए. ओके, यू मस्ट बी नोइंग दिस. वी हैव आर्टिकल 324 and that article says that we have to conduct free and fair election. So to facilitate free and fair election, election commissions issues guidelines. Those are model code of conduct. उसको बोल देते हैं मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट. तो पहले तो आपका क्वेश्चन गलत है, आपने कोर्ट बोला है. कोर्ट नहीं होता, कोड होता है. ठीक है ना, एक गाइडलाइन है, कोड बोलते हैं उसे. चलिए, सो विल मूव टू द नेक्स्ट. Now it is saying that the contesting candidate and their campaigners are not supposed to disturb the freedom of road shows. See, the point is this, different political parties, they will be organizing these road shows. Okay, so government तो भी बैठी है वहां पे. If the government is there, there are chances that government will misuse the bureaucracy and not allow the other political parties to carry out their road shows. ऐसा भी तो हो सकता है ना, but here it is not allowed. Other point is this, election campaign, rallies, road shows must not affect the road traffic and general public. So these types of instructions are there कि जनता को नुकसान नहीं होना चाहिए, but regularly होता है. That's the point here. See, these model code of conducts and all these things are in place, but you know, me know how muscle power, money power is still used in the election. Okay, तो ये सब चलता है यहाँ पे, शराब भी बांटी जाती है. Now we'll move to the next news that is related to the 8 years after arrest, High Court acquits former DU professor in UAPA case. Okay, so this is related with the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. Now the point is this: it was alleged that this Professor Sai Baba, that he was having affiliation or relations with the Naxals. जो Naxals हैं, which are carrying out anti-India activity, with them Sai Baba was having some relations, that he was some sort of an overground worker, funding arrange करने का काम ये करते थे. These were the allegations and nothing was proven here, and right now he has been declared acquitted. इनको free कर दिया गया है. Okay, but here again now government is going to contest. There are few things related to UAPA. So Unlawful Activities Prevention Act के बारे में थोड़ा जानते हैं. Let's try to figure it out what exactly is there for us. Okay, so basically the problematic part is this Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, it gives special procedures to handle the terror activities. Okay, that here you have made a specific arrangement, specific law to deal with the terror activities. It aims at the effective prevention of unlawful activities. It aims at effective prevention of unlawful activities throughout India. Okay, it refers to any action taken by an individual or association. So if government wants to ban an organization, it can ban the organization under UAPA. किसी भी organization को अगर ban करना हो तो भी यहाँ पे किया जा सकता है. Okay, other point is this: UAPA has the death penalty and life imprisonment. It means that it is very stringent. काफी stringent है ये. Okay, खतरनाक है ये. Strict penal arrangements हैं इसके अंदर. Both Indians and the foreign nationals, they can be charged. Okay, NIA, National Investigation Agency, it has some additional powers under UAPA to seize the property. किसी की प्रॉपर्टी सीज करनी हो तो वो भी NIA कर सकता है, but only with the approval of DGP. So this is the arrangement that has been provided. Now few years back some amendments were done and now it was facilitated that NIA can probe cyber crimes under this as well. So cyber crime related matters can also be probed under this. Okay, that was the arrangement. What's the major problem then? Debate क्या है इसके पीछे? So the major debate is about the misuse of this particular act. Okay, that it was stated that multiple times this particular law has been misused primarily to curb the dissent. Okay, so if there is dissent, someone is opposing the government, someone is not liking the government, even if that person is not indulged in the violence activities. ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि जरूरी नहीं है कि वो किसी violence activities में indulged हो, जरूरी नहीं है. Okay, but still just to curb the dissent with the help of police and with the political pressure, the person may be charged under UAPA. That's the point here. Okay, so specifically it came as a major issue when the CAA, the Citizenship Amendment Act, okay, when protests were going on against the Citizenship Amendment Act and Delhi police charged those protesters under UAPA. Lot of activists, they have been charged under UAPA. So it is not that misuse nahi hua hai, this law has been misused. So we have to make sure that you should stop this misuse. This is what our focus is. Okay, तो majorly इसी चीज के ऊपर आपको यहाँ पे ध्यान देना है. Now Rajesh Malik is asking, sir, can we compare the UAPA with martial law? Certainly not. Martial law से तो इसका कोई लेना देना भी नहीं है. Martial law is primarily linked with the military arrangement, military rule. Okay, अब UAPA is already in place. Okay, यहाँ पे कुछ military तो मुझे दिख नहीं रही है, तो you cannot relate it with that. Sir, what about the 8 years he had spent in prison? That's the tragedy. Okay, that's the tragedy, I would say. So let's move to the next part, next news. So there is another news on the front page itself that is related to the electoral bonds. Okay, so right now Supreme Court is asking some questions to the center and the Supreme Court is looking into this electoral bond issue. तो ये डिबेट पूरी अभी चल रही है. द मेजर डिबेट इज रिगार्डिंग द ट्रांसपेरेंसी ऑफ इलेक्टोरल बॉन्ड्स. because government made this arrangement to basically bring transparency in the political funding of elections. Okay, तो उसके लिए इसे लाया गया था. Now the point is this: is it truly transparent? Because you and me will never be able to know who is purchasing bond for the political parties. That's the major point here. So this is what the Supreme Court is looking into this. Okay, now Supreme Court is asking the government whether the electoral bond system reveals the source of money. That okay, if someone is buying electoral bond just to have party funding के लिए कर रहे हैं, कोई खरीद रहा है, मैं भी खरीद रहा हूँ, but is bank asking this question to me where I am getting that money from? Now it can be black money which can be used to buy these particular bonds. That's the point, that's the question. What should be the source of the money? That should also be referred here, and this is what Supreme Court is looking into. So other questions that they are asking is this, that is it truly transparent? Is it going to address this question that from where the money is coming? This is what is being debated by the Supreme Court right now. So let's look into some major characteristics related to the electoral bond. So this can be put up as a prelims related question. Okay, तो ये एक कुछ statements हैं, ये prelims related question से related है. So State Bank of India is authorized to issue and encash these bonds. Electoral bonds are purchased anonymously by donors and are valid for 15 days from the date of issue. So basically electoral bonds are bonds purchased by the donors if they want to fund a political party. किसी political party को fund करने के लिए bond आप बैंक से खरीद सकते हो, and it will be just issued by State Bank of India. Okay. Other point is this: these can be bought by donors from a bank only, and political parties can encash them. Means no other person can encash them. So if I want to buy this bond, I will be mentioning that this bond I am buying for BJP or for Congress. I will specify the political party as well कि मेरा bond कौन, इस bond से पैसा कौन लेगा, either BJP or Congress. I will specify it there. That's the point. These can be redeemed only by an eligible party. Eligible party होगी and that party will also be holding an account. सिर्फ बैंक account में जाएगा पैसा. Okay. Other point is this: these are the denomination within which the bonds can be issued. So State Bank of India, it issues bonds in terms of 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, 1 lakh, 10 lakh and 1 crore. This is what the major point is about. Okay. ये है पूरी कहानी इसके पीछे की. Now the debate is this: information related to who is purchasing the bond, it will never be made public. इसको पब्लिक में नहीं डाला जाएगा कि कौन किसने जो है बॉन्ड किस पार्टी के लिए खरीदा है. अदर पॉइंट इज दिस, देखिए, इट शुड बी पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रांसपेरेंसी सिस्टम. आई एम अ वोटर, आई शुड नो फ्रॉम वेयर बीजेपी इज गेटिंग फंड्स, फ्रॉम वेयर कांग्रेस इज गेटिंग फंड्स, फ्रॉम वेयर आम आदमी पार्टी इज गेटिंग फंड्स. ये मेरा हक है ना, मुझे पता लगे ट्रांसपेरेंसी के अंदर. अदर पॉइंट दैट वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इज दिस: नाउ SBI officials, they will be knowing who is purchasing bond for whom. It means that government in power, the party in power, they will also come across this information. उनको भी पता लग जाएगा कि कौन bond खरीद रहा है, but not the opposition. That's a major problem here. Opposition को नहीं पता कि कौन bond खरीद रहा है, लेकिन जो government है, जो power में है, उनको पता है कि किसने किसके लिए bond खरीदा है. This is a major point here. Okay, तो ये चीज आपको यहाँ पे समझनी होगी. Now only the political parties registered under section 29A of Representation of People Act, and those parties should secure not less than 1% of the votes polled in the last general election, they are eligible for receiving the funds. तो जिन parties को 1% वोट मिला है पिछले इलेक्शन में, only they are eligible for receiving the electoral bonds. This is also the point you need to understand, because prelims related questions can be framed based on the points that we discussed. मैं ये statements, multiple questions में डाल सकता हूँ prelims के अंदर. Okay, This is how UPSC is asking questions these days. So you should be remembering them, you should be noting it down. आगे चलते हैं. So there is another, you can say, news related to eco-sensitive zone. Okay, so आज that was the news related to eco-sensitive zone. Okay, so here is the news: eco-sensitive zone, top court may take up the Kerala's review. Now you need to understand one thing. What are eco-sensitive zones? First of all, we need to address this question. Okay, so eco-sensitive zones are buffer zones. Okay, buffer zones around the protected area. Buffer zones around the protected area. Now protected area can be, you can say, your national park, your wildlife sanctuary and others. So उसके अराउंड एक बफर जोन बनाई जाती है. That will be termed as eco-sensitive zone. They are also known as ecologically fragile areas. Okay, because just wildlife or forest area या फिर protected areas के around है. They are to be notified by Ministry of Environment around the protected area, national park or wildlife sanctuary. The major purpose is to create a shock absorber. Okay, देखिए wildlife और human जो urbanization है, the human, you can say, settlements that are there, you need to have some buffer zone. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि here your national park is ending और उसके next एक आप building बना दो. You have to keep this in your mind, because then man animal conflict is definitely going to there. If you are not having these shock absorbers near the protected areas, there are chances man animal conflict will increase. Leopard आपके घर में आ जाएगा. Okay, so you require these shock absorbers, that there should be certain areas where activities of humans should be restricted. Industrialization, livelihood से related, settlement से related, those activities should be restricted. Okay, here is the Supreme Court judgment in the past. So past में Supreme Court ने judgment दिया, specifically in case of Kerala. It stated that there should be eco-sensitive zone within 1 kilometer radius. Okay, that around a national park within 1 kilometer radius there should be eco-sensitive zone. It means that activities of humans should be restricted in this area. कि इस एरिया में ह्यूमंस की एक्टिविटीज आपको रिस्ट्रिक्ट करनी पड़ेगी, ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बताया है. दे अनाउंस्ड कि 1 किलोमीटर के अराउंड होना चाहिए, बट द मेजर प्रॉब्लम इज दिस: इवन विद इन दिस 1 किलोमीटर देर आर ह्यूमन सेटलमेंट्स. ओके, देर आर ह्यूमन सेटलमेंट्स, सो ऑलरेडी पीपल आर लिविंग देयर. नाउ वन ऑप्शन दैट यू हैव इज दिस: यू रिमूव देम. एक ये है कि आप उनको भगाओ वहां से. इज इट राइट? Certainly not. That's why right now Supreme Court is going to review its judgment. अपने judgment को Supreme Court review करेंगे, because this is the practical problem. This is the practical problem. You may have to come across different solution. Okay, that's the point. Now basic aim to have this eco-sensitive zone is primarily to minimize the negative impact of human activities in that fragile zone. Eco-sensitive zone can go up to 10 kilometers. 10 किलोमीटर तक जा सकता है. Okay, and it has been facilitated under Wildlife Conservation Strategy 2002. This is the point. Up to 10 kilometers हो सकता है, but the problem is this: we are a country where 17.4% of the global population, okay, is living on 2.4% of the global land. So हमारे पास लैंड तो 2.4% ही है, and population wise we might be 18%. ये 17.4% might be the old data. If you go by the current statistics, we might be 18%. Okay, this is the major problem here. It means that there is going to be scarcity of land in this country. वो हमेशा रहने ही वाली है, but you have to give importance to ecology and wildlife as well. So this is the major debate. Okay, so इस डिबेट को हमें ध्यान पे रखना है. So we'll move to the next part. आगे चलते हैं. So we'll directly move to the editorial section. Okay, so this editorial is talking about do not ignore the role of women livestock farmers. Okay, now what I am saying is this editorial is giving you very important facts that you can use in your GS paper 3. Okay, so if there is a question related to livestock, अगर livestock से related question है, you do have to mention or use these facts and relate it with the women empowerment as well. उसको आपको women empowerment के साथ link करना पड़ेगा, even if they are not specifically asking it. Okay, so they are saying that livestock sector is rapidly growing. It is considered as important component of agricultural activity as well, and livestock at present it amounts to 5% of the national income, 28% of the agricultural GDP. So it's a significant component then. Okay, last year if you see, overall agriculture was growing at 2%. Okay, crop farming की बात करें तो 2% से वो बढ़ रहा था, but it was livestock which was growing at 7.9%, and constantly, means this is the trend that has been observed. Other major point is this: women are associated with the animal rearing, and there are some statistics which are old statistics which says that there were 5 million women members in dairy cooperatives in 2015-16. It has increased to 5.4 million. जो dairy cooperatives बनती हैं उसके अंदर 5.4 million women members are there. This is the point here, and women accounted to 31% of all members of dairy producer cooperatives. 31% member women हैं यहाँ पे. So it means that women is engaged in this livestock activity. It means that if we want to facilitate women empowerment, okay, अगर कहीं पे हम women empowerment करना चाहते हैं, for this cause as well, livestock is important for us. For that as well, livestock हमारे लिए important है. Not only this, there is another concept that is going on called feminization of agriculture. Okay, this is the other concept, that agriculture majorly is being feminized, because this is the trend that male members they are moving to cities for earning livelihood. भाई गांव से जो है male members वो cities चले जाते हैं, and the small fragmented land that the farmers they are having, women is majorly carrying out cultivation on that land. कि मर्द बाहर चले गए और वुमेन जो है वहां पे उस लैंड को कल्टीवेट कर रही हैं. तो फेमिनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर इज ऑलरेडी टेकिंग प्लेस, एंड इन दैट लिंक एज वेल दिस लाइव स्टॉक मैनेजमेंट एंड द रोल दैट वुमेन इज प्लेइंग, इट इज ऑल्सो शोइंग दिस ट्रेंड ओनली. This is what we need to understand here. Okay, now there is another point that we have to add. As per the national livestock policy, it is also aiming to increase the productivity of the livestock. Okay, so we have a dedicated policy, National Livestock Policy 2013, which is focusing that we have to enhance production and productivity of this livestock in a sustainable manner, and it also mentions one of the goal as women empowerment. तो ये already policy में तो है. We announced National Livestock Mission in 2014-15, okay, for the development of livestock sector, and major focus was that we have to make sure feed, fodder and all these things are available. Okay, and we wanted to facilitate flow of credit to the livestock farmers. But the major problem is this National Livestock Mission is not addressing the specific requirement of women livestock farmers. ये फोकस आपको लेके आना है यहाँ पे. This is what we want as a change in the policy by the government, that women livestock farmers के लिए you need to have some other credit arrangement, maybe at a concessional rate. Rate of interest को आप थोड़ा कम करके concession देके women livestock farmers के लिए अलग arrangement कीजिए. This is what the point is. Government can come out with the interest subsidy कि बैंक से अगर कोई women livestock farmer लोन लेती हैं तो गवर्नमेंट इंटरेस्ट के अंदर थोड़ा शेयर अपना भी डाल दे. ओके, सारा बर्डन वुमेन फार्मर पे नहीं होना चाहिए. दिस इज व्हाट द पॉइंट इज. अदर पॉइंट इज दिस, मेजर प्रॉब्लम इज दिस, पॉलिसी मेकर्स आर नॉट कंसिडरिंग दिस पॉइंट दैट वुमेन इज taking part in the livestock farming and she has a specific requirement. Other point is this, in this country we don't have gender specific data. The data that we are collecting till now is basically holistic data. So you do require gender specific data, that how many women are participating in these activities, because different states will be having different data. Okay, we cannot say that this will be a uniform trend throughout India. सब states के अंदर एक जैसा trend होगा, जरूरी नहीं है. In that case, you need to have gender specific data with you, so that you can provide the gender specific policy. This is what is being suggested in this editorial. So we'll move to the next. आगे चलते हैं. So these are the issues. Okay, now women in poor household without collateral, okay, found it difficult to avail loans. Collateral means गिरवी रखने के लिए. So it is difficult for women farmers to get loans. That's one point. Other point was that around 15 lakh new Kisan credit cards they were issued, but there was no information how many of them were women farmers. Women livestock farmers, they lack the technical knowledge regarding animal breeding and veterinary care. There are a lot of modern techniques that are available, artificial insemination types. Okay, उनके बारे में women को knowledge नहीं होती है. Women are not aware of composition and functioning of dairy boards, and it is being said that men are exercising the decision. अगर women only dairy cooperatives हैं, उसके अंदर भी उनके पति decision ले रहे हैं. This is what is happening right now. So these are the issues that we have to address if we truly want to facilitate it as a women empowerment tool. The other editorial that is being discussed here is this Indian deep tech and a case for strategic fund. So basically Modi ji announced that we have to have a Atmanirbharta, self-reliant, and specifically it is linked with the defense industry as well. So if India is aspiring to be a global power, okay, that global power status is not possible if you are not having domestic defense industry. Domestic defense, not only the production but also the research units. Okay, we cannot remain reliant on external powers, we cannot remain reliant on equipment imports. आपको अपने अंदर खुद वो capability develop करनी पड़ेगी. That's the point here. Okay, so we need to develop ourselves as a developed nation. This is what Modi ji is saying, that in another 25 years India will be a developed nation. Okay, but बोलने से नहीं होगा. There are a lot of things to be done. One of the major crunch that we face, okay, when we discuss the research and development issue is this: we don't have funds for R&D. हमारे देश में research and development पे spending has been just 0.8% of GDP, which is absolutely very less. China is spending nearly 4% of GDP. Germany is spending 4% of GDP. Israel is spending 4% of GDP, and here we are spending just 0.6% on GDP. It is very inadequate. That's the point here. So this editorial is saying that at present the trend is like this: private sector in India is not participating in R&D, be it defense and be it other. Private sector हमारे यहाँ पे R&D funding इतना नहीं करता है. Public sector funding that we have till now is inadequate. वो inadequate है. So in this scenario, this editorial is suggesting that we need to have something called India Strategic Fund. That government should announce India Strategic Fund. Now we can have some other arrangements as well. Okay, already some steps have been taken. Corporate social responsibility has been announced. Okay, कि आपके यहाँ पे companies, if they are making profit, so 2% of the profit they will be spending for corporate social responsibility. Okay, now that funding can be linked with the research funding in R&D, that if certain companies they are giving their CSR for R&D, it should be considered as valid, you can say, component under CSR. Or other thing that the government has already been done is this tax breaks. Okay, so some tax breaks can be announced for firms which are indulged in R&D, be it defense sector, be it other sectors. तो स्ट्रेटेजिक टेक्नोलॉजी के अंदर जो कंपनीज रिसर्च कर रही हैं, इंडिया में अपना कुछ प्रोडक्शन प्लांट लगा रही हैं, you can give them tax breaks. This is what is being suggested here. तो वो कुछ ना कुछ यहाँ पे suggested है. Okay, now that was the point here in that editorial. this is what we had. Okay, so I'll just show you that what all we covered. So we covered the do not ignore the role of women livestock. Okay, then we covered the India's the strategic fund thing, and there is another case study that is being put in this case. Okay, it is related to recently human sacrifice related news emerged in Kerala. Okay, human sacrifice related news indulged in means was there in Kerala, that there was a person who was indulged in human sacrifice, and he was doing it because he was considering that it is part of a ritual. तो वो अपने समझ के हिसाब से कुछ ritual कर रहा था. So already police has declared that that person has some mental issues, he is a psychopath. Okay, ऐसा कुछ गवर्नमेंट ऐसा कुछ पुलिस ने भी बताया है. But the point is this, your constitution is facilitating a path for a modern nation. Okay, modern nation based on modern values, but it is sad that even after 75 years of independence, there are people who are indulged in superstition. That's a major concern for us. Why till now people are indulged in superstition and other problems? The major problem that is associated with this is lack of scientific temper. तो इस पूरी कहानी के अंदर मामला जो है वो lack of scientific temper का है. Okay, that's a major concern, that your constitution may be facilitating fundamental duty that we need to develop scientific temper, but here we are failing to teach people about these values. That's a tragedy here. So to deal with these particular problems, yes, we need a strong law, strict law. Okay, along with that, we need to focus on our education system as well, so that we can imbibe the scientific temper in the people. It may take certain years, but effort needs to be made in this direction. इस direction में effort ज़रूर होना चाहिए. Okay, that's the point here. Otherwise your nation cannot grow. How will you become a global power, world power, if your means people are indulged in this? Okay, so it's a political news right here, and plea to study shivling rejected. Okay, so reason that government gave was the court gave was that it can damage the shivling as well. Okay, so another news that we will be picking up is related to INS Arihant carries out key missile test. INS Arihant carries out key missile test. Okay, so this is the indigenously built nuclear powered submarine that we have, and here with these tests we have portrayed to the world that India is having these powers. Now the major point that you have to understand is related to the triad. Okay, that we need to have ability to launch missiles. अब ये triad क्या होता है? Basically when we launch vehicle, okay, launch an attack or missile, it can be done through air power, it can be done through land, and the other source is sea. Very few countries are having this ability to launch their missile from land, air and sea. India is one of them. So why do we need this ability? So basic point is this: suppose there can be a hypothetical situation where you may not be able to launch your aircraft. आपका aircraft take off ही नहीं हो पाया. The land, you can say wherever your missiles are deployed, they can be jammed by the enemy country. Jammer भी होते हैं. They might be having this technology and they have jammed your missile installations, and through land as well you are not able to launch your missile. It could be there, hypothetical situation I am saying. In that case, you should have the ability to launch an attack through sea, either through your aircraft carrier or it should be from submarine. Now the benefit that we have that missile can be launched from submarine is this: submarine is difficult to detect, so your enemy will not be able to know from where the missile is coming. That's the ability that India is having right now. So this test was conducted with K-15 submarine launched ballistic missile. It is a ballistic missile, it can have a parabolic path and it can carry nuclear warhead. तो न्यूक्लियर वॉरहेड वो ले जा सकता है with the range of 750 kilometers. Other major point is this: we are already working to develop our ability on K4 submarine launch ballistic missiles that will have the range of 3,500 kilometers in the future. So we are already on that path to develop that ability. So right now we have achieved this particular, you can say, ability of 750 kilometers, and it's a remarkable achievement because only few countries are having these abilities. That's the major point here. Okay, so आगे चलते हैं, देखते हैं और क्या खास है. Now here this data has been released, global hunger index is out and India is at 107. That's the sad point here. If you compare India with the neighboring countries, Sri Lanka 64, Nepal is at 81, Bangladesh 84, Pakistan 99, only Afghanistan is there which is performing bad than India. So we need to be serious about this thing. Now just figure out, you are aspiring to be a global power. How can your country be a global power if people are hungry? भूखे पेट लोग हैं और आप ग्लोबल पावर बोलोगे. That's the point here. So we need to specifically take these things very seriously. Global hunger index, if you see comprehensively, it tracks the hunger at global, regional and national level. Okay. Later on it looks into 4 indicators. Those 4 indicators are undernourishment, child stunting, child wasting, child mortality. Stunting, wasting, child mortality and undernourishment. So stunting क्या होता है? Stunting primarily means weight is to height ratio. Wasting means how healthy is your child. Okay, those things are looked into. वो सारी चीजें यहाँ पे देखी जाती हैं. And India is lagging behind in these areas. So we need to be very, you can say, focused on these particular points. Now countries are divided into 5 categories. Okay, so these are low, moderate, serious, alarming, extremely alarming. India is in serious category. Okay, it provides the score on 100 points where 0 is the best score and 100 is the worst score. 0 is the best score and 100 is the worst score. So this could be your prelims question as well. ये सारी statement prelims के अंदर डाल सकते हैं. Other point is this: there are some more statistics that are there, that in India undernourishment has increased significantly. So it is saying that it has increased from 14.6% to 16.3%. There has been significant increase in this point. It means that 224 million people in India are considered undernourished. That's the point here. This is a significant number. Okay, so we need to be very serious about these things, otherwise it will be a meaningless world power that India will be. Okay, so that's the point here. So we'll move to the next. So this is what it was there, global hunger index we have discussed. Okay, Putin says he doesn't see need to talk with Biden. So right now there was some desperation shown by Vladimir Putin. It appeared that he wants to have talks right now because he is fed up with the war. Yesterday Biden made a statement that Putin miscalculated Russia's ability to win this Ukraine war, and this is quite visible. Other point was that yesterday Putin made some statement which brought some relief to the world, that he is saying that no more attacks are required on Ukraine. So right now they will focus just to defend the territory that Russians have gained. आगे वो attack नहीं करेंगे. Okay, so he wants to have some negotiation and he wants that talks should be facilitated as early as possible. This is what the point is. Okay, this is what the point is. तो ये एक major चीज है. Now India's policies must aid in bright spot forecast. Okay, so basically we need to identify sectors which can push India's economy right now, and you need to come out with some policy adjustment because these are the difficult times. So government policy is required. That's the point here. तो कहीं ना कहीं हमें सरकारी पॉलिसी की ज़रूरत है यहाँ पे. Okay. So, this is what we have in today's session. There is another session scheduled at 10. So, we have to wind it up. Thank you very much.